I wanted to jump on here and just be real raw and authentic and share how alcohol almost cost me everything. So if you hear a vacuum going, if you hear my kids screaming, hey, I'm a father, I'm a parent, it is what it is. But it's important. I wanted to get this out because, alcohol is one of those things where I started at a very young age. I had my first drink. I remember I was 12 years old. I had a wine cooler behind the barn in the woods with a whole bunch of white boys I used to play football with. And that's when kind of everything started. And obviously, at 12 years old, that's way too young to be getting wrapped up in drinking. But very quickly, things sped up. And by the time I was in ninth grade, I was hanging around a group of guys way older than me. They were in their 30s, 40s. One of them was in his 60s. They would drink every single day. And I was right there with them. So typically I would go over there before school, we'd have a couple beers. After school, I'd go to football practice. After practice, I would go back over to their house. Again, drink beer again. That was the thing. Natural ice, the most probably disgusting, cheapest beer that you could get. That's what we would drink, and we would just sit on a porch and drink beers, and really stuff was getting out of control. I mean, being 16, 17-year-old drinking every day, and what it did at a very young age, it became my norm. It became something that I just did. The whole time I was playing sports, I was very active in sports. I ended up getting a Division I scholarship, and here was part of the problem with it. Even though I was drinking, acting recklessly, hanging out in clubs, being in a whole bunch of places that, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old has no business being, I was still maintaining my grades. I was still getting recruited by a whole bunch of colleges. So to me, it wasn't a problem. To me, I didn't think it was an issue. And so obviously, once I went to college, it just continued on. College, my drinking didn't ramp up because it couldn't ramp up any more than it was already ramped up. I would say what happened is there was more participants, right? There was not a lot of 15-year-old, 16-year-old kids that I was hanging around that were drinking every day. These were grown men that I was drinking with. But when I went to college, it seemed like everybody was drinking all the time. So it became more socially normal. And I'll never forget, I had got recruited to play Division I football. In the very first game, we were playing Virginia Tech, and it was live on ESPN. And I'll never forget the very first play. It was a kickoff return, and I still had a hangover because I was drinking the night before. And I'll never forget, I turned around and just got hammered. And the only thing I remember is on TV, the very first play of the game, you see me, I was like in focus, and next thing you know, I just flew out the screen. So the drinking continued, the recklessness continued, the stupid choices continued, and it went right into, after college, I did like most people do, you get into corporate America, and I was just kind of going through the motions. I was working a job that I wasn't happy with. I was in some relationships that were not good relationships I shouldn't be in, and I just found myself again every single day using alcohol to detach. And what I started to realize, and what I realize now, I don't know if I understood it fully at the time then, as a matter of fact, I know I didn't, was the whole time I was just using alcohol as a way to detach from life. I was using it as a way to escape my truth. I was using it as a way to escape what I didn't want to face, my insecurities, my ego. There was just so much that I was burying with every beer I would drink, with every glass of vodka I would drink. I was just going like deeper and deeper. It became like my medicine. And I finally got to the point where I said, like, enough is enough. And I want to share with you the reason why I stopped drinking. And I'm not one of those people who run around and say, you need to stop drinking. It's like, no, man, it's your life. You're like, if you're listening right now, you're a grown adult. You're going to make your own decision. But I do want to share with you the realization that I had for myself. Because drinking and alcohol, it's such a socially acceptable thing. Nobody's going to give you a hard time about it. Nobody's going to try to get you to quit. Nobody's going to tell you you have a problem because it's so socially acceptable. But there's some things that I started realizing in my own life after doing some self-evaluation that I just didn't want to do it anymore. I literally just made the decision, this is dumb. And one of the reasons for that is because I would repeatedly make bad decisions when I drank. From a very young age all the way through, I would just make horrible decisions, whether it was, I would go out and spend a whole bunch of money that I didn't have. I would be buying people drinks with money that I didn't have. Going to places, eating at places. Like, I was just reckless when it came to like my finances. It was just like whenever I was drinking, it's like, figure it out tomorrow, or I'll figure it out next week. And it always ended up the same. Like, I would wake up the next day and I would be terrified, petrified to look at my bank account because I knew I spent money that I had no business spending. Another thing, I would make bad decisions with women, like terrible decisions with women. And I started looking at women as just bodies, literally. No feeling, no emotion. It was just a way to satisfy a physical fix that my flesh had. And alcohol was like pouring gasoline on that. And again, I didn't realize how bad it was till I really started looking back on my life and honestly evaluating what I did and how I lived my life for so many years. And it's something that I'm embarrassed of. It's something that I'm shameful of. Like, there's nothing cool about a man going and sleeping around and being with all these women. Like, there's nothing cool about that. You're literally giving your soul to other individuals. It's just one of those things I didn't really want to participate in anymore. And I knew when I drank, my decisions in that area were horrible. I mean, it was bad. So the second reason was I realized I was dependent on it. For a long time, my pride wouldn't let me admit that I had a problem. I would just, this is something that I like to do. This is just something that I do. It's just something to relax. It's something to take the edge off. I would use all these words and these language to dull it down as if I didn't have a problem. Like, looking back now, no, I had a problem, right? Drinking at 12 years old, that's a problem. Drinking every day at 15 years old, that's a problem. Getting off work every single day, stopping by 7-Eleven and picking up a 24 pack just to relax, that's a problem. Not being able to go out in public without having something to take off the edge, without something to relax me, having a drink, vodka, like my go-to drink was vodka and orange juice, Tito's and orange juice. Nah, man, it was a problem. Third thing, as I got older, hangovers became brutal. I told you this story earlier about on my first time on ESPN, I had a hangover and I was drinking the night before. I would do that every single day. I would drink and then go to practice. Like, it was normal. Like, my body could just handle it. But as I got older, I'm 41 now, it started wrecking me. And I was just like, nah, I'm not going to do this. I wasn't productive in the mornings. I found myself being lazy. Anytime that I would drink, because the hangovers were so bad, because my eating would go all out the window when I would drink, I would just feel terrible the next day. Couldn't be productive, couldn't think. I had this like brain fog. I couldn't gather my thoughts. I'm like, nah, not doing it. And then the last reason that I'm going to share, the fourth reason was I would always find myself around bad company. I would always find myself around people that I'm not going to say they were bad people, but they were definitely headed in a different direction than I was going in. And some of these people were a lot of these people were really, really good friends. And this was very hard for me to step away, because I don't know if you've ever tried to hang out with people who drink, and you decide you stop. Like, they hang that over your head. It's like, oh, come on, man. You can have one. It's just one drink. What's it gonna hurt? Who's it gonna hurt? Oh, you're too good. You can't hang with us anymore. And the reality is, none of that was the case. It's just I had made a decision that I didn't want to drink. I made a decision that I didn't have to drink to be around him. I made a decision that I didn't have to drink to have a good time. And for a lot of those people, they didn't want that. They wanted the tie that, got loose. They wanted a tie that would drink with them, and I was no longer that person. So again, I wanted to just bring this on and share this video because, again, alcohol is one of those things that's so socially acceptable. It can be very challenging quitting. It can be very hard. And a lot of times, I know I didn't have anybody to turn to. It was just one of those things. I made the decision, and it was just me. So hopefully this lands with someone. Hopefully this resonates with someone. And if that's the choice you decide to make, stick to it. It's worth it. You're going to start recognizing, at least for me, I recognize a part of myself that I didn't even know existed. It allowed me to really understand who I am, what makes me happy, what makes me tick, get rid of a lot of my insecurities, and really start dealing with issues that I've had since I was a kid. So again, I'm going to keep this raw. I'm not going to edit it. I'm sure you're going to hear my kids screaming in the background and all that good stuff, but this is a real topic and this is real life. So I'm going to keep it this way. So hopefully you guys got some value. Catch you guys on the next one.